America's Got Talent is full of terrifying moments. From a silent magician targeting judges with supernatural illusions, to a performer falling 30 feet in a fiery car crash, I'll be going over every disturbing moment in America's Got Talent history. The silent magician who terrorized Mel B. Sacred Rihanna in season 13 didn't just perform magic, she waged psychological warfare against the judges.
Okay, let me try again. Well, welcome to America's Got Talent anyway.
And what she did to Mel B crossed every line between entertainment and genuine supernatural terror. Picture this, you're expecting some card tricks, but instead this silent figure in dark clothing approaches without saying a word. What made Sacred Rihanna so effective wasn't just her appearance, the long black hair covering her face, the dead-eyed stare, it was her complete commitment to the character. She never broke, never smiled, never acknowledged the audience's nervous laughter. Sacred Rihanna made the judges unwilling participants in what felt like a supernatural attack. In her audition, she had Mel B select from photos that were supposedly of suicide victims.
Who's here?
Hello.
I'm turning this over.
Look.
Oh my God! Bob is behind me!
Revealing a ghostly image that appeared in Mel B's chosen photo while smoke emanated from a mysterious bowl. The whole experience was so disturbing that Simon buzzed the act due to his discomfort, but Sacred Rihanna's terror campaign was just getting started. In the judge cuts, she performed an imaginary friend illusion that left everyone questioning what they'd witnessed.
No, I don't want to play with that.
But the quarterfinals was where Sacred Rihanna truly showed her psychological warfare skills. She created multiple duplicates of herself that appeared around the stage, then made a voodoo doll specifically of Mel B. The personal targeting was what made it so disturbing. She'd studied the judges and knew exactly how to weaponize fear against them. The performance ended with Sacred Rihanna literally climbing up the wall, defying gravity in a way that made everyone question if they were witnessing something supernatural or just incredible stagecraft. Sacred Rihanna proved that the most effective horror comes from taking normal situations and making them feel unsafe. She turned a talent show stage into a haunted house, and she did it by making the judges feel like they were being hunted by something otherworldly. But if you think supernatural threats were disturbing, wait until you see what happened when an innocent 13-year-old made grown adults question if they were witnessing demonic possession. The child who moved like a demon, Arshia Sharma in season 19, proved that the most terrifying performances come from the most innocent performers.
Hi! Welcome to America's Got Talent! Thank you!
And her contortion routine literally defied human anatomy in ways that made grown adults call an exorcist. Here's what made this worse than Sacred Rihanna. At least with Sacred Rihanna, you knew you were signing up for horror. She looked creepy from the start. But Arshia, she's a 13-year-old girl from India who walked onto that stage looking like the sweetest kid you've ever seen. The contrast was what made it so effective. When a creepy magician does scary things, your brain can process that. But when a child who looks like she should be in a Disney movie starts moving like something from The Exorcist, it breaks your ability to categorize what you're seeing. The transformation was what made it effective. She started looking like any normal kid, smiling, innocent, the kind of performer that makes judges feel good about giving opportunities to young talent. But then she emerged from a house set wearing horror-themed costume that completely changed the atmosphere. She began performing backflips that landed directly on her chest with audible sounds that made everyone wince. But that was just the opening act for what came next. Arshia started twisting her body into positions that looked like something from The Exorcist. 180-degree head turns, spider-like crawls with limbs bent at impossible angles. The whole routine was set to a distorted version of Ring Around the Rosie that made everything feel deeply unsettling. You could see the judges struggling to process what they were watching. Howie's reaction was perfect.
You know, I have 2 daughters and 2 granddaughters, and this is the scariest, most most horrific dance recital I have ever been to.
Under her bed for nightmares, and Sophia called it horrific yet mesmerizing, which perfectly captures how you feel watching something that disgusts and fascinates you simultaneously. What Arshia proved was that sometimes the most effective horror comes from corruption of innocence. She weaponized everything we associate with childhood against our deepest fears about the supernatural. But if supernatural body horror was bad, wait until you see what happened when performers decided to show judges containers full of live insects. The mealworm revelation that disgusted Sophia Forrest of Haunts in season 19 took terror to a disgusting new level, forcing judges into a game of chance that revealed just how far some performers would go to create revulsion, even if they didn't actually assault anyone with insects. These guys came out dressed like something from a haunted house.
Wow.
Which should have been the first warning sign, but they pitched their act as a game involving balloons filled with mysterious substances, a twisted version of Russian roulette that would determine the judge's fate, and the setup was deliberately suspenseful. They had Simon select balloons to be popped over a blindfolded Sophia.
I want to go home.
Choose 2 numbers.
That one, 1 and 2.
Building tension about what might be inside. The first balloons released confetti and golden glitter, which seemed harmless enough, but then came the reveal that showed just how disturbing their act could have been. The unselected balloon contained live mealworms, actual insects that writhed and moved when revealed to the audience. While Sophia wasn't actually covered in the creatures, just seeing what could have happened was enough to traumatize everyone. The judges had to confront the fact that they'd participated in an act where biological assault was a real possibility. The vote was split, which tells you everything about how America's Got Talent had normalized extreme content. Heidi voted no because she was disgusted by the concept, but Simon called it repulsive but brilliant, essentially rewarding the performers for their willingness to potentially assault someone with insects. What Forrest of Haunts proved was that you could threaten judges with genuinely disgusting biological elements, and as long as you framed it as entertainment, some judges would celebrate the creativity even if they found it morally questionable. But if you think the threat of insect attacks was disturbing, you haven't seen what happened when a magician created illusions so realistic they seemed supernatural. The haunting illusions that terrified everyone. Klek Entos in season 16 took magical terror to a dark place.
Oh, no. Hey! Watch out!
By creating illusions so realistic and unsettling that judges questioned whether they were witnessing actual supernatural phenomena. This masked magician didn't just want to perform tricks. He wanted to create an atmosphere of genuine dread that made everyone in the theater feel like they were in actual danger from otherworldly forces. In his audition, Klek Entos performed a spider trick that involved making the creature disappear and reappear in ways that defied explanation.
What do you see? A spider. What if the box has the power to make your imagination come to life?
But it wasn't just the magic that was disturbing, it was the atmosphere he created, the sense that something genuinely malevolent was happening on stage. The quarterfinals took the terror to another level. Klek Entos brought assistants who moved with jerky, unnatural movements that made them seem possessed or controlled by something inhuman.
Hey! Watch out!
The illusions weren't just clever, they were deeply unsettling in a way that made your primitive brain scream danger signals. What made Klek Entos different from other magicians was how real everything felt. The judges were genuinely terrified throughout his performances. You could see them struggling to process what they were seeing, trying to rationalize experiences that seemed to defy natural law. Simon actually buzzed the act because he was so uncomfortable with what was happening. Howie called it disturbing yet fun, but you could see he was rattled by the realistic nature of the supernatural element. The fact that the judges advanced him despite being genuinely disturbed shows how America's Got Talent had normalized supernatural terror as acceptable entertainment. But if you think supernatural illusions were crossing the line, wait until you see what happened when performers specifically targeted a judge's diagnosed phobia. The clown army that exploited Simon's worst fear phobias in season 20 proved that targeting someone's specific psychological vulnerabilities can create the most effective terror. And what they did to Simon Cowell was basically weaponized entertainment that exploited his diagnosed coulrophobia. Having a phobia isn't just disliking something, it's an irrational, overwhelming fear that can cause physical symptoms like panic attacks, nausea, and genuine terror. Simon had been open about his clown phobia, probably thinking it was just a quirky personal detail he could share with fans. Phobias turned that vulnerability into their entire performance strategy. They created an overwhelming assault of clown imagery that appeared from shadows without warning, creating intense jump scares that made Simon physically recoil. The performance included balloons, meat hooks, ribbons, and impaling illusions that escalated the terror with each element. You could see Simon struggling throughout the performance. He was flinching, trying to hide, genuinely fighting his body's panic responses. This wasn't a man being entertained. This was someone whose diagnosed mental health condition was being deliberately triggered for audience amusement. The clowns were relentless in their approach, creating an atmosphere where Simon felt surrounded and hunted by his worst nightmare made manifest. This wasn't random scary content. This was a calculated assault on someone's known psychological weakness. They'd done their homework and knew exactly how to cause Simon maximum distress. The group advanced initially, rewarding them for their successful exploitation of a judge's mental health condition. The fact that deliberately triggering someone's diagnosed phobia was considered acceptable entertainment shows how far America's Got Talent had moved from its original mission of showcasing talent to creating viral moments regardless of human cost. But if you think psychological exploitation was the worst thing that could happen, you haven't seen what occurred when the push for extreme content started causing actual physical injuries. The arrow mishap that could have been fatal. Ryan Stock's performance in season 11 showed how quickly extreme acts can go wrong when equipment fails, though fortunately the actual injury was much less severe than it could have been. The plan seemed straightforward enough. His fiancée Amberlynn would shoot an arrow from a crossbow, and Ryan would catch it in a target he held in his mouth. They'd practiced the routine countless times and had performed it successfully before. But during the live performance, the crossbow's laser sight slipped, causing a crucial malfunction in their targeting system. This equipment failure meant Amberlynn couldn't aim with the precision the act required. The arrow struck Ryan in the throat and collarbone area, immediately catching fire near his neck. The impact was enough to cause pain and flames, but fortunately the arrow didn't pierce his skin or cause serious injury. Ryan was able to extinguish the flames himself and walked away relatively unharmed. What made this incident significant wasn't the severity of the actual injury, but how it demonstrated the razor-thin margin for error in extreme acts. The sight of flames near someone's throat was enough to make everyone understand how dangerous these acts really are. Despite the equipment failure and mishap, Ryan explained what happened and the act was allowed to advance. The incident became a learning moment about the real risks performers take when they push the boundaries of what's safe on live television. But if you think equipment malfunctions were dangerous, wait until you see what happened when a performer's physical limitations led to a serious fall. The vision problem that caused a dangerous Miss Duo Transcend in season 13 showed how even experienced aerial performers can face serious risks when physical limitations combine with challenging performance conditions. Mary and Tice Nielsen were performing a blindfolded trapeze routine with fire elements. Already a combination that pushes the boundaries of what's safe. These weren't amateurs, they were experienced aerialists who understood the risks and had trained extensively. But Tice was dealing with keratoconus, an eye condition that affects vision and depth perception. When you combine that with performing blindfolded around fire, you're creating a situation where even small miscalculations can have serious consequences. During their catch sequence, Tice missed grabbing Mary's ankles due to what appeared to be a slip caused by his vision difficulties. This wasn't a deliberate mistake or equipment failure. It was a human error caused by the challenging conditions they'd created for their performance. Mary fell from the aerial rigging, but fortunately landed safely in the protective mat below. She was able to stand up immediately and appeared uninjured, showing how important proper safety equipment is for these kinds of acts. The judges were visibly concerned watching someone fall from that height, even with safety measures in place. You could see the relief when Mary stood up and showed she was okay. Despite the mishap, the judges praised their bravery and determination. Simon and the other judges recognized that the couple had pushed themselves to create something spectacular, even when physical limitations made it more dangerous. They advanced with all yeses, which showed how America's Got Talent was willing to reward performers who took risks, even when those risks led to accident. But if you think a controlled fall with safety equipment was concerning, wait until you see what happened when performers achieved success without any accidents at all. The perfect performance that earned a Golden Buzzer, Hakuna Matata Acrobats in season 19, showed that sometimes the most impressive moments on America's Got Talent come not from accidents or injuries, but from flawless execution of death-defying stunts that leave judges speechless. This Tanzanian group specialized in acrobatic towers and balancing acts that pushed the limits of human coordination and strength. Their performances were genuinely dangerous, the kind of acts where one small mistake could lead to serious injury. Throughout their America's Got Talent journey, from auditions through the quarterfinals, they consistently delivered performances that showcased incredible skill without any major mishaps. Their audition featured tower formations and rolla bola balancing that demonstrated their years of training and experience. But it was in the quarterfinals where they truly shined. The group performed increasingly complex tower formations and balancing acts that had the judges holding their breath. Every movement was precise, every catch was clean, and every formation was executed with the kind of skill that comes from years of dedication. What made their performance so impressive was the obvious family bond and determination they showed. You could see how much this opportunity meant to them and how hard they'd worked to perfect their craft. Sophia was so moved by their combination of skill, heart, and determination that she gave them her first live Golden Buzzer of the season. It was a historic moment that sent them directly to the finals based purely on the merit of their performance and the emotional connection they created. But if you think controlled success was the most extreme thing that could happen, you haven't seen what occurred when a performer's quest for ultimate danger literally changed his life forever. The accident that ended everything. Jonathan Goodwin's straitjacket escape on AGT Extreme became the darkest moment in the show's history, proving that the hunger for extreme content can have devastating, life-altering consequences.
When you're going to do something for the very first time, there's an awful lot to consider. And then, you know, there's an awful lot that can go wrong.
This wasn't just another dangerous act that went slightly wrong. This was a complete disaster that destroyed a man's life on camera and forced everyone to confront. Jonathan was attempting to escape from a straitjacket while suspended between two swinging cars that were on fire. AGT Extreme was specifically designed for acts that regular America's Got Talent considered too dangerous, actively seeking out stunts that pushed beyond normal human limits. Timing had to be perfect, escape the straitjacket and get clear before the cars swung together. Jonathan had calculated the exact moments, the precise movements, the safety margins that would keep him alive. He was one of the world's most skilled escape artists, someone who understood risk better than almost anyone. But on the night that mattered, the timing went catastrophically wrong. Instead of escaping cleanly, Jonathan got sandwiched between the two exploding vehicles.
And caught on camera. He's opening out about what happened and his road to recovery.
Completely crushed between tons of flaming metal that were moving at high speed. Then he fell approximately 30 to 40 feet and missed the airbag that was supposed to cushion his landing. The impact was devastating. Jonathan suffered paralysis from a dislocated spinal cord, lost his left kidney, sustained third-degree burns across his body, and endured multiple fractures that required months of surgery and rehabilitation. The timing went wrong because the safety measures weren't sufficient for the complexity and danger of the stunt. AGT Extreme had pushed so hard for bigger, more dangerous, more extreme content that proper safety had become secondary to creating spectacular visuals. When you consistently reward the most dangerous acts, when you make shock and fear the primary measures of success, eventually someone pays an ultimate price. Jonathan Goodwin paid that price, sacrificing his mobility, his career, and his future so that viewers could experience a few minutes of extreme entertainment. His story proves that behind all the spectacle of these terrifying moments, there are real people taking real risks with permanent consequences.